office. Very interesting.
What are you guys talking about?
Killing people.
So I've reviewed all 3 seasons of the show so far, and each one, the bar keeps getting raised in terms of just the sheer audacity of what we're going for here. So as soon as I started seeing the advertisements that this was going to take place in the White House, started thinking of all the horror franchises that have done, like, Jason Takes Manhattan, Leprechaun in Space, all of these kind of off the wall twists. But I think this is the best execution of taking a horror character and putting him in just a place you would never expect. How did all the logistics come about of putting this together?
I've been interested in doing something about the haunted White House for a long time, even separate from Chucky. It's just there's a lot of lore surrounding supposed ghost sightings and hauntings for centuries at the White House, and it's really fun, interesting stuff. And I was surprised no one had ever really gotten into that before. So as I said, I was, even separate from Chucky, had just done a lot of research about that, and was thinking of writing a pilot about that. But then when it came time to do season 3 of Chucky, I thought that it was actually, that would be a good fit, because we had done the sort of suburban typical middle-class home life in season 1, and we did the boarding school in season 2. So we got to switch it up somehow, obviously. And putting it in the White House has all kinds of advantages on both sides of the story. In terms of our 3 teen leads, it's great conflict that they have to, how do they get into the most secure house in the world in order to get at Chucky? So that's an interesting sort of journey that they have to travel to get there and accomplish their goal. And I really sort of relished the opportunity to expand our own supernatural mythology. As you could tell from having watched the first 4 episodes, there's something else going on here. It's not just Chucky in the White House. There are, spooky stuff going on here, and that all pays off in the back half of the season. I thought that would be fun, and that at the same time, by putting Chucky in this world which expands his mythology, and he sees that he's not the only spirit or presence lurking about, at the same time we expand the mythology about Damballa, as you can see. And that also pays off in a big time. And then, the mythology of Damballa and the mythology of ghosts in the White House sort of dovetail and come together in ways. I just thought it was we always want to do something radically or semi-radically new every movie or every season of the show. And so I just felt like time to expand the rules and the supernatural world. And it allows us, for, among other things, to get into some levels of surrealism that we've never done before. And again, more to come in the back half of the season.
And the one thing that I didn't expect it when season 2 rolled around, and I'm like, oh, there's actors playing different characters this time around. And now this season, you've continued that trend. Was that something you thought about in season 1, that we wanted to have these actors continue through in different roles? Because Devon Sawa as the president is one of my favorite casting choices of all time. He's just so good in this season.
He's great. Yeah, he's really great. It's actually something I've done before the show, even in the movies, starting with Jennifer, of course.
Right.
She actually played Tiffany, then she played Tiffany and herself. And then in Curse of Chucky, I had 2 actors, Adam Herdig and Ali Tatarin, were in Curse of Chucky, and I brought both of them back in different roles in Cult of Chucky. Also in Cult of Chucky, this actor, Michael Terrio, played the evil Dr. Foley, Nika's evil psychiatrist. And he turned up in season 1 of our show playing Lexi's dad.
Right. And
here he is in season 3 playing the vice president. So it's something I really love doing. And so it's been really fun doing that with Devon. This is the 4th character he's played so far. And I think, people seem to be really digging that, like yourself, and it gets even more fun in the back half of the season. And Laura Jean Karstecki, who played the evil Sister Ruth last year, this year is our First Lady. And I first worked with Laura Jean on Hannibal.
Yeah, she was great on Hannibal.
She's amazing on Hannibal, and we've been talking about working together since then. And I love actors, and my fellow writers and I in the room, we really enjoy being able to write new roles for actors whom we've come to know, both as artists, but as, just personally as well. It's just fun to give them new challenges. Like, let's see, what have you never done before? That kind of thing. Keeps us all on our toes, I guess. And it's just, fun to have a little repertory company. I mean, I realize, of course, Ryan Murphy does that too, but again, I was doing it in the movies before this. It's just, it's a lot of fun to do that,
And it's really cool how they're all, it's not, Ryan Murphy does it with standalone seasons. These are all in a shared story and shared universe, but they're different, which I love. Along the same lines with this series, compared to the films, while Andy was obviously in so many of the stories of the films, all 3 seasons, we've got the teen protagonist as they've been growing up through all 3 of the seasons. Is your vision for however long this series goes to have them as the main characters, or is there a pivot point where the story transitions to following different people in the future?
Well, I think it probably depends on, God willing and ratings willing, how long we could last. Because, never say never. I mean, I could, imagine at some point, we would pivot away from Jake, Devin, and Lexi, but I don't have any plans to do so yet, because I think, we certainly found new stuff to do with them this season. You always want to ground it in real stuff as well. And I've really enjoyed marrying Chucky to the YA subgenre, and just because I think, because our movies and our franchise has always been kind of stylized in a way, because we found that a slightly stylized universe is the best for Chucky to operate in, I think, because he's slightly stylized, just being a puppet himself. So I think teenagers' emotions are very stylized, because when you're that young, and your hormones are raging, you just you experience everything at this sort of heightened level. So I think it's why it's a good fit with a horror story that is stylizing itself.
And not knowing where this could potentially go in the future, how long you're able to do it, I love that everybody kind of is putting their all in. Brad's great, Fiona's great, Jennifer's great. They all are having so much fun, you can tell on screen. Is there already a plan for what next season would be? And obviously you can't say where it's going to go, but are you going to try and raise the bar from above the White House if there's another season?
Yes, but raising the bar doesn't mean, because I've seen some fan speculation about this, it doesn't mean going to space.
Sure.
Although I do think Chucky in space is an amusing idea, and actually at least semi-viable, but I don't have any plans to do that yet. But yes, I have thoughts about where to go from here. Time will tell if we'll get the renewal. I hope so, and then we'll be able to do that. But yeah, I that's always our challenge, because we've been so lucky with the show that people have really responded well to it, and the reviews have been great this season, and so it's every year we sort of oh God, can we keep doing it? Because you just don't want to let people down, and I sort of feel if we can even match the last season, I'd be happy.
And I think it's so much fun.
Try.
Yeah, and it's such a fun ride. It's great, especially looking forward to it every Halloween. I love that all the season titles are named after movies, and just finding all those little references and hints. Last question for you: is there any potential crossover ideas that you've ever considered, pinning Chucky up against any other characters?
Yes, and I've talked about it before. I would really love to do Chucky versus Freddy, because I think because first of all, they both talk, Chuck. You know, it's
Yeah.
just like Jason and Michael being the strong silent types. It's kind of difficult to create a relationship. I mean, not impossible, I suppose, but like for example, in Ronnie Yu's movie Freddy vs. Jason, which had a lot of great cool things about it. Ronnie's a great director. I don't know. I just like it's just hard. I want to do a double act, and I think that these two, wisecracking killers, although I would argue that they wisecrack in very different ways.
Yeah.
I think the idea of what their relationship could be and where a relationship could go is really interesting and fun.
That would be very, very cool. Yeah. I hope you get to do it someday.
I hope so. People often say to me, like, why don't you do Chucky versus Leprechaun? But I just feel like that's too obvious. That's like almost low-hanging fruit, because like to get two diminutive killers together, I don't know. It's just I think that even the height difference between Chucky and Freddy is amusing, and then the implications that might suggest about their relationship. Does Chucky feel threatened by him?
Gotta get a bigger knife. That'll be hilarious. Awesome. Well, I thank you so much for your time today. I love the show so far. Can't wait to check out the back half. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Alex.
Bye.